Zelenskyy reports on massive Russian attack on Ukrainians' energy and aftermath. US condemns Russia's Oreshnik missile attack on Ukraine in heated UN remarks, and how Ukraine hits Russian drone factory in Taganrog with missile strike. The latest news next. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy reports another massive Russian attack on Ukraine last night. Russia launched nearly 300 strike drones, most of which were Shahed drones, as well as 18 ballistic missiles and 7 cruise missiles. The main target of the strikes was again the energy infrastructure, power generation facilities and substations. As a result of the Russian attacks, significant damage to residential and civilian infrastructure was recorded. Dnipropetrovsk, Zhytomyr, Zaporizhia, Kyiv, Odessa, Sumy, Kharkiv and Donetsk regions were hit. Separately, Zelenskyy reported a Russian missile strike on a postal terminal in the village of Korotych in the Kharkiv region, which had no military significance. 4 people were killed in the Russian attack.
The situation in the Kyiv region is not easy. Several 100,000 families are now without electricity. All emergency services are on site. Resilience points have been deployed.
The head of state stresses that each such strike is a reminder of the need to continue international support for Ukraine, particularly in the field of air defense.
Missiles for air defense systems are needed every day, especially in winter. The world can respond to this terror with new aid packages. We are counting on faster deliveries from America and Europe.
He also notes that Russia must realize that the cold will not help it win the war. Russia's attacks on Ukrainians' energy infrastructure are a mockery of US peace efforts, while the use of the Oreshnik missile by the Russian regime represents another unexplained and dangerous escalation by the Kremlin, US Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN, Tammy Bruce, stated. According to Bruce, Ukraine and Russia should be seeking ways to de-escalate the conflict in light of the efforts being made by the administration of US President Donald Trump. Instead, the Kremlin's actions in this case appear to be a dangerous and unexplained escalation of this war.
With regard to Ukraine, including the launch of the Oreshnik ballistic missile, capable of carrying nuclear weapons directed against Ukraine near the border with Poland and NATO, this constitutes yet another dangerous and unexplained escalation of this war, even as the United States is urgently working with Kyiv, other partners and Moscow to end the war through negotiations.
She added that rather than working toward a peaceful settlement, Russia's actions risk only expanding the war, while the attacks on Ukraine's energy sector look like a mockery on the part of the Kremlin.
We condemn Russia's continued and intensifying attacks on Ukraine's energy facilities and other civilian infrastructure. These attacks are a mockery of the cause of peace, which is of paramount importance to the world and to President Trump.
It should be noted that Ukraine's permanent representative to the UN, Andriy Melnyk, during an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, said that Russia continues to find ways to prove that there are no limits to its criminal intentions. He noted that the enemy deliberately waited until January to begin attacking Ukrainians' infrastructure so that millions of people would be left in conditions of severe frost. Ukraine needs additional missiles for Patriot and NASAMS air defense systems to protect critical infrastructure from massive Russian strikes, according to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense.
Russia has significantly increased the number of missiles and drones for attacks on Ukraine. We urgently need additional missiles for the Patriot and NASAMS systems,
says Deputy Minister of Defense Serhiy Boyev, addressing participants at an extraordinary meeting of the Ukraine-NATO Council. He also emphasizes that Russia's use of medium-range ballistic missiles near NATO borders is yet another manifestation of its aggressive policy and complete lack of desire for peace. He also calls on allies to invest in the Pearl program and the development of defense production, particularly in the field of interceptor drones. The allies, for their part, strongly condemned the Russian attacks, which are a manifestation of outright terror against the Ukrainian civilian population and reaffirmed their unwavering support for Ukraine and their readiness to provide the necessary assistance. On the night of January 13th, Ukraine launched missile strikes on a drone manufacturing plant in Taganrog, located in Russia's Rostov region. A number of additional targets were also hit in temporarily occupied territories, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Strike on the drone plant in Taganrog. According to the military, as part of efforts to reduce the offensive capabilities of the Russian aggressor, Ukrainian units used domestically produced missiles to strike the Atlant Aero enterprise in the city of Taganrog, Rostov region. Atlant Aero is involved in the full cycle of design, production, and testing of Molniya strike reconnaissance drones, as well as components for Orion UAVs. The destruction of this facility will reduce the enemy's capacity to produce drones and weaken Russia's ability to carry out strikes on civilian targets in Ukraine, the General Staff explained. Explosions and the fire were recorded in the area of the production buildings. The extent of the damage is being clarified. Every successful strike on Russia's military-industrial facilities demonstrates a simple and undeniable reality. The more the aggressor's military infrastructure is degraded, the fewer resources and capabilities it has to continue the war. Targeting drone production plants, missile assembly lines, ammunition depots, and logistics hubs directly weakens Russia's ability to attack Ukrainian cities, terrorize civilians, and sustain prolonged combat operations. These strikes are not acts of escalation. They are acts of defense aimed at reducing the enemy's capacity to wage war. Ukraine has proven that it uses its capabilities responsibly, precisely, and exclusively against legitimate military targets. However, relying solely on domestically produced weapons significantly limits the scale and effectiveness of such operations. Without sufficient long-range strike capabilities, Russia retains strategic depth, allowing it to manufacture weapons, regroup forces, and plan attacks far from their front line with relative impunity. This is why increased support from international partners, particularly in the form of long-range weapons, is not only justified but necessary. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.